Hello, you are listening to Magic is Real, and I am Shannon Torrance. I am a psychic medium. Most of my videos are on video, and today this video is going to be an audio only just to protect the privacy of my dear client Dawn, who unfortunately lost her best friend, soulmate, husband, with whom she has children and grandchildren. She has been going through unimaginable pain and grief. And she has been kind enough to give me permission to share this recording of our mediumship reading, of the time we spent together this week, in hopes that it will bring comfort to others who are going through grief and to let other people know that they're not alone, that there is life after death, that the consciousness never dies, and that while we will always miss our loved ones when they pass away, and it's not going to take away the pain of grief, they're still here. They're just in another room. And I also just wanted to touch on the fact that as a medium, I am not a therapist. I'm not a grief counselor. But so much of my job, and what I love about my job, is that I get to hold space for people that are going through grief, who have lost people that they love, as we all have, or will. And I also wanted to present this as an opportunity for anyone who's considering booking a reading with me to see how I work, to see what we do, to see what it's all about. Because I know when I used to book readings with mediums, I always wished that I could see a video of them reading so I knew what I was signing up for. And so I could see if their style resonated with me and if they were the person that I should be working with. My intention and my hope is that you will find peace and comfort and inspiration in listening to this mediumship reading. Thank you again for being here. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please leave me your comments below. Let me know your thoughts. It really means a lot, and it's a free way for you to support the podcast. Thank you so much. Lots of love.
Have you been going to church lately? Like, even though I know you don't necessarily go like to church every Sunday, have you been visiting a church where they have like a candle thing?
I went to my Reiki, who's a spiritual, minister and stuff. And I've been talking about going back to church.
That's what I just heard, is that you're going back to church. That's literally, I didn't hear more than that. I heard you're going back to church. And whether it's in whatever way, it doesn't have to be for the service, just be that being there for you.
I was thinking about it. I was thinking about it.
I think that feels right to me, that whether it's going there to light a candle, but also just kind of getting back into that routine of comfort and the tradition of it, even if you're more of a spiritualist at this point, it's still important to you. It just feels like there's been discussion around about getting back to church. And when your kids were younger, did you take them? Is that something that you did as a family?
Yes.
Does it feel, have you talked about them with them recently about going back as a like together as a family, or is it more just something you're doing for yourself?
Well, I had a really hard time when he passed away. We brought his remains to the church, his ashes, and we had like a mass, a funeral mass for him. And I thought I was going to be okay, but when I walked down the aisle with my kids, my boys were holding, his remains. And my daughter and I were behind him and the boys, and I saw the priest up at the front. And I lost it because it reminded me of my wedding day, like looking at the priest and thinking, well, this is the end. So after his mass, I couldn't walk. My legs just went out from under me. And all these people were there. And it was like this like warped, like wah wah wah, kind of thing. And I was just like really out of it. And I just felt so out of control. Like I've never felt like that before.
Yeah, that makes so much sense.
So I
Yeah.
haven't been able to go back to church since then.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting that excuse me, he brings up you going back to church. There's no, as you know, he's not judging you. He doesn't, it's not for him, it's for you. So he has no judgment on whether you go or not. But it's an acknowledgement that you are thinking about it, and that is in some part of the healing is creating new memories around it, and even visiting some bad memories. And you don't have to do it if it's too much. If you go there and it doesn't feel right, then don't go. But I think there's just a feeling for me that I feel from him, which is when you go there, I'm going to be there with you. I'm going to be holding your hand through it. And if it just means walking in and breathing and walking out and going, I can't do it, that's okay. But it's about taking those first steps forward to create a new experience around it. Or
We always held hands in church, always.
that's what I heard him he showed me holding hands. Like, I'm going to be there holding your hand as you sit there. And again, you do not have to sit through it if you don't want to, but it's okay to say, let's try to put our foot back in the water a little bit. You don't, and I know that you wouldn't go if you didn't want to, because it's not that church itself is so important as much as it is something that used to be a place of comfort and tradition and family and that sort of thing. There feels like I have an older person with a name like Shirley or something like that.
Shirley's my mom.
Oh, it is? Thank you.
But she's not in spirit.
That's okay. That's interesting. This is interesting. Thank you. Is her mother in spirit?
Yes.
Okay. It's Shirley's mom then, because I feel a grandmother in spirit coming through. Pat knew her. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yes.
He comes through today. He came through with this older woman that felt like grandma to me. She's coming through with more evidence to show me that, yes, I also am supporting this decision and will be with you and very happy to see you putting your foot back in the church, not from a judgment standpoint, even though her human self might have been a little bit more pushy about it in terms of like, you need to go back to church, not pushy, but just like encouraging this. But it feels as though there's a supportiveness around it is all I'm saying. It doesn't have to be. There is something about race cars as well, because I'm seeing like racing cars and fast cars and like a track going around. It doesn't have to be NASCAR. So
I just gave my little grandson his Matchbox cars.
You did? You mean from Pat when he was little?
Yeah, he saved them in a drawer. He always wanted to give them to his grandson.
I'm feeling that would be more
And,
resonant.
and yesterday I brought him out.
Thank you. That feels more resonant to me, because when I asked Pat,
They were in a little case and they had all little race cars and tractors.
That's what it is, girl. Because when I said to him, I would like for you to show me things that let her know that more evidence that you're there, and show me things that you're observing. To me, that feels more like it. Like I just keep seeing race car, and I hear race car. So
and I just handed my grandson, I found a little Camaro, a yellow Camaro, like
and
my
that's
husband.
what he had. That's
Yeah.
what Pat had.
And I just gave the baby a little today. I just handed it to him.
Okay, that's what it is. It's like he wants you to know that he's there. And okay, this feels right. There's something where I'm seeing a hair salon or a barber shop. It doesn't feel like a fancy salon. It feels like some kind of like a barber shop is what I'm seeing.
Yes, we took the babies to go, or my grandson to get his first haircut a few weeks ago.
I just saw that. Like
all the kids, my sons came, everybody, the whole family came just for his haircut, and they all got haircuts. And
that's what it is. He wants you to know he was there.
It was an old time barber shop too. It's like at Disney.
Not like I said, not a salon, a barber shop. I saw very clearly just people sitting around, very simple, but with the little smocks on. And that's his way. I just got chills. He's like, yes, he just gave me huge chills to let me know that I was there for that. I was completely part of it. I watched it all happen. Very proud of grandson for rolling with it. Like it doesn't feel like he didn't freak out.
He did really good. He did not freak out, which everybody was expecting him to.
That's what he just said. He's like, he didn't cry. He did really great. Like
oh my God.
That was like
because we expected him. I'm sorry, we expected him to freak out. Hang on, I'll show you.
Yeah.
And all of the family went together.
Oh, that's so sweet. And so did Pat. He wanted me to say, and so did I.
And I was like, I was actually I was quite sad when I went there because
Yeah.
I was like, I hope you're here.
Mm, that's why he's bringing it up. Because you said, I hope you're here. And he's telling you right now, I am here. I was there. That's incredible.
Here he
Um,
was. He'll show you all the kids, all my
yeah, I
boys
want to see.
in a row.
Oh my God, that's so funny that he said barbershop. I
It
mean,
was barbershop.
that's crazy.
And you said he didn't fuss. It's true. We expected him to have a fit.
Yep, he specifically said that to me, like how proud he, like good, not that he would have been upset if he wouldn't care if the kid cried, but it was like he just wanted to say he did really good. Um, and then I felt there was something about like going out to pizza as a family. I know that's really generic, but it's like what I saw was this place that I used to go when I was a kid with my family called Angelina's, and it was like this Italian with the checkered tablecloths, and you get like a Coke in one of those glasses that you could like, they were textured. Does that mean anything to you as it pertains to now, or is it something you used to do?
Oh, we always went out for pizza, and that's his favorite food.
Okay, it may just be that like he's showing me like everyone going, like the whole family going to.
Well, I just told the kids to come over tomorrow night, and I would order a pizza.
Okay. I mean, again, it sounds like that's what he's showing me is when I feel into that, what it feels like is he remembers going as a family and he's like, we're still as a family. Like there's no, even though I'm not in the same room, we're still doing that together. Shaving legs, something about shaving legs. Does that make sense?
Yes.
What does it mean?
He always had a pet peeve about like that was like his thing. He hated like unshaved legs and unshaved armpits. He was like, and I'm like, hey, I don't even give a crap anymore.
That's funny because you know him. He has a very good sense of humor. And so
Yeah.
like whenever I talk to him, he says funny things. It's not like so much of what he says
But
is
that's funny. And my daughter just said, Mom, my legs are so itchy right now. And she just went and got a razor. She just told me this. Like, Mom,
oh,
I
like right now. That's why
yes.
he's like he's letting you know like I hear everything. There's not a single thing that happens that I don't hear. And he's letting you know I was in the room like or you know, he's always there, but it's like
Right before I got on the phone with you, my daughter's like, Mom, I had to stop at Target because I had to get a razor. She goes,
hello.
I'm so itchy on my legs, she told me.
They show us the most mundane things just to be like I'm literally here for everything. Like, even though I have work to do on the other side, like, I still hear all the little things. It's like he can be in all these places at one time. He wanted to, you know, really make that. And then um, something about tying shoes, showing me lacing up his shoes.
He didn't know how to tie his shoes.
Oh, wow.
Right. And I was like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm tying my shoes. And I was like, honey, that's not the way to tie your shoes. And he's like, yes, it is. And I said, no. It was like one of the first things I was like,
Nice.
something's wrong.
This is interesting. Have you been writing out your own will and testament?
No, but I was thinking I have to get my um the house in order and write a will. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a validation of you. Again, spirit never tells you what you have to do. It's just an acknowledgement that you've been thinking about it. Um, because they just showed me writing a will, and like we already,
I
you know,
about it. I even thought about it today. I'm like, I have to get that done.
I hear the word Stella, but I feel like it's related to for. It's not so much that it's somebody named Stella, but Stella means star, and I'm just trying to figure out what that is, and let me know if it resonates with you. But I'm hearing Stella. Um, but it feels more like a constellation. Like there's an idea of a constellation or stars. There's a feeling of something related to, I can't tell if it's a physical object, but it's like, on one hand, I'm seeing a figurine, like a figurine, like a tchotchke kind of a thing that represents something. But I'm hearing like Stella and star and this figurine. Does that make any sense to you?
I have a spiritual um Reiki friend named Stella.
You do. Then I should have
She
just
lost
said,
and she lost her husband little after I lost Pat.
Okay.
And Stella is a very like insightful person. Like she at Christmas, like she brought me this gift and she because they were having gathering like our Reiki group and they asked me to bring food, so I did, but I really didn't want to be part of the festivities. I just didn't feel like I could.
Yeah.
So I went out by the swing out in the back, just to get away from it all. And Stella came up to me and she gave me this gift and it was like this blue blanket, which is the exact color of my couch. I mean, she would never have known that. And she said,
Yeah.
Dawn Spirit told me that I had to give you this. She said, every time you hold yourself in it, I want you to realize like there's all these angels holding you and you're
Wow.
wrapped in love when
Oh
you
my
hold.
God.
Yeah.
Because you know what I saw? I should sometimes I'm like, why don't I just say
And
it?
there's stars on the blanket.
Also, the figurine I was seeing, it was glass and it was two figures in an embrace. That's what I was seeing that, but I wasn't articulating it. Like I was, because I didn't think the statue was the thing. Like, but but I need to learn to be more descriptive. What I'm seeing specifically is a glass figurine with two people in an embrace, which I know that's just not what you have, but it's like the um, representation. Because I said Stella, star, and then there's this.
There's snowflake stars on the blanket.
Okay, it feels to me that that's an acknowledgement, but also as you say that, I also feel like Stella's husband might be here as well, just with a message for her. So I want to just go with where I'm going with this. Is Stella more in her 60s? She's a little older than you. Okay.
Yeah.
'Cause her husband feels a little bit, did he pass just not too long ago? Like, because he feels a little older. He doesn't feel like he passed very young.
No, he was older and he passed after Pat did.
Okay. I'm just hearing the name Stuart or something. Stewart.
There's a Stewart that passed away in our Reiki group.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Stewart
And
coming through as
and
well.
and my Reiki teacher talks about him all the time. I have never met him, but his
Okay.
name is Stewart. But
About why there is something about him not being in his having a brain issue towards like not being cognitive at the end. Like would that make sense to you in terms of how Stella's
probably
in the past? He just wanted to talk about like not being able to.
communicate.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
it feels very much like his head is cloudy. And so did he have like Lou Gehrig's or did he have ALS?
I don't think so.
There was something about somebody being trapped in their not being able to like being in their body and being trapped in their body. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know the specifics.
Okay, that's fine. It just feels like what he's expressing to me is that he's very it's interesting because I see him with very high cheekbones, and I don't know if that's like because he was thin by the end, but that's just how I saw him all of a sudden. Is that he's a very thin? Was he very thin? And you don't know? I don't know if you've seen pictures of him, but he kind of comes through as very wiry and thin, and I don't know why he shows me that because it may not be important, but in any case, maybe it is that he's showing me that for a reason to show me that he was sort of there's a sense of wasting with him, like it feels like he's slowly deteriorating, and the feeling is that when he comes through is like I'm sharp as a tack, I'm clear, I'm I have this lucidity is the word he uses, and I haven't heard. He's like, there's a lucidity that's back that I was missing. That just feel, and I want more details, but but it's okay. It'll all come around the way it's meant to. Um, there's something about him with him too, like because he wants to talk about like bathing or somebody bathing him. It's like and I don't know if it's like a late baptism or something, but you can leave that with Stella and see if it means anything to her. I do feel like there's a lot of. I just feel like Stuart and her husband. They're not giving me a lot of specifics, so if they don't have them, that's fine. But I just kind of feel like there is some uh, wanting to reach out to her, and it's hard. And like you can ask her about this, but I just saw like an international envelope. Like we used to write each other letters back in the day. Remember before we had computers and you would write to somebody long distance? I just saw that par avion paper, which is that really thin letter paper. And it looks like I'm seeing that like an international letter. So you can ask her if it makes any sense, but it could be that at some point they had a long distance thing.
Yes, I think that she was from another country.
Because it shows me writing
And
international letters.
she was from another country and I guess brought her here or something maybe.
That would make sense. But I also think Pat's bringing up Stella in terms of just the blanket, the signs, the synchronicities of that, and having him orchestrate that because she said spirit told me to do this, and him validating that he gave you the blanket.
And Stella's, she's so much more healed than me. Like, I think I wore black. I had a black shirt on at the party, and I had like a pair of like red and green and black, like um, legging pants. And Stella looked at me and she goes, "Black is not your color. I don't want you to wear black again."
Oh,
She goes, "You need to realize you can't do this. You can't, you've got to lift yourself out." And like she just was very like almost firm with me, like, like you've got to get out of this, you know.
I think that's another reason that Pat brings up Stella as being really glad that you have her there because she's such a strong. It's okay to grieve for as long as there's no expiration date. It's you can't force yourself.
I look at her like, how are you doing this? Like, how are you being
Yeah.
like she was singing and she was still happy and she was like, okay, he's in a better place. I'm like in awe of her, like, how do you get there?
I know. Does she have kids?
She does, but she's not like they're not like really close with her
Yeah.
but she does see her grandkids. It's just
Everyone's so different too. The fact that Pat is like, I mean, not saying that she wasn't, but like your relationship with Pat is so primitive because, and I say primitive from like a biological bond standpoint, but partly because you've been, and maybe she has too, but like he is your soulmate. Like that's it. There's no way around it. He's always been in your life. He's going to be in your life. And after your life, this life, he's going to always be there. And it's like the two of you are just twin flames, really. And I don't know if sometimes I'm not sure if I believe in twin flames or not, but I think because there are different definitions of it, but it feels like there's such this primal thing. And also he was young, like really young, I mean, not that that ever matters. You use your spouse, he could be 85 and you're still going to grieve, but it is, and also everyone's just different, like where you are in your life, what you have going on, what your background together was. But it is so good though to have somebody there that can hold you through it and guide you through it from a different, everyone offers something like, I'm going to offer crying with you and I'm going to be like, I get it. Let's cry every day, and then Stella's going to be like, snap out of it, and I think you need like a bunch of different types of people around you who all love you and who are all like totally supportive of your grief process because your grief process is yours. And if you can't, there's nothing, it's not your fault that you can't get, that you're not feeling better yet. It's not, this is something that is individual to you. And there are a lot of complexities in it. I just saw Wonder Woman. Is there something about Wonder Woman? What is that?
he always called me Wonder Woman. He always said I was his Wonder Woman.
I'm crying. Okay. Whew, okay.
One day we were like at downtown Disney and he comes up and he finds a Lego Wonder Woman. He put it on my keychain. And you always find little Wonder Woman things, t-shirts and things like that.
Because as we're talking about this and how your grief is your grief, he just said Wonder Woman. Like you're Wonder Woman. Doesn't matter if you're falling apart every day, you're still Wonder Woman. He still sees you as you're strong. You don't have to be, and also you don't have to be strong all the time, but you're strong because you're here. You're strong because you're staying, even though it's hard. And it's his little way of encouraging you and saying, come on, honey, you got this. You're Wonder Woman. You know, I've got you, you've got me. Like it's not going to be easy, but if anyone's got this, you've got this, even though you don't feel like it. And it's okay not to feel like it. You don't have to feel strong. You don't have to be strong. You don't have to project strength. Just your soul in itself is here and it's fighting. And that, you know, alone is waking up every day, showing up for other people the way that you do. That's enough. Every small step, taking one step out the door to feel the sun on your face, having a moment of joy, big celebration for those little things. Um, he just showed me a cake and a candle. 19, I think I see 19 on it. I don't know if the numbers, I don't know if the numbers relevant, but I'm just going with what comes through. He showed me celebrating a birthday, which I know is cliche. Every medium says that, but there is a birthday that feels imminent. Like, is there a birthday party coming up now, or somebody's birthday that's like now?
Well, Saturday, my son's mother-in-law is having a birthday.
Are you going to that?
They asked me to make the cake,
Okay, that's what it is.
but
Um,
it's not, I don't know where 19
I
comes
don't
in.
either. What I did is I just zoom. Sometimes I'll just say zoom me in, and then I'll just see candles, and it looks like maybe it'll make sense later. I just saw one of those candles that have the numbers on them, and it may be, yeah,
Maybe because my mom, her birthday's coming up on the 24th.
okay.
And I always put like I never she's gonna be 83.
And you put a joke one on there,
I always put like
18.
18.
Yeah, this I was just about to say right before you said that. The next thing that was coming out of my mouth is either there weren't enough candles, or there were like at the store they didn't have the right candles, or you're putting different numbers on there to make a joke. That was the feeling of like the candles that are numbers, but like maybe you go to the store and you're looking for 85 or whatever, and they're like, oh, they don't have an 8, so I'll just put the 5 and make a joke like happy 5th birthday. It felt like a joke, like a play on that kind of feeling.
I do that to my mom every birthday for
That's
her.
cute for Shirley. uh Rosebud. Okay, let's go with Rosebud. I know that that's a, you know, the movie, The Sled.
That
From
was one of his favorite movies.
there you go. He just said Rosebud. And so that's, oh my God, I know the movie. I'm a film major. What the heck? You know, say it
From
to
a sled. He used to tell me the sled was Rosebud.
It was. And that's the big thing of the movie, is that the sled is called Rosebud. And at the end he goes, Rosebud. And it's like he just said that to me. It was like he's just, it's funny with Pat, the way that he speaks is so, it's like he's just he's just talks so clearly when, you know, and he's so easy to understand. Okay, he's showing me he's sitting on the couch with you. I don't know if this is present or like before, but he's got his arm around you. And this is a very casual. It's not, this doesn't feel like right now. It feels like he's sitting on the couch with you, his feet are up, you're watching movies, his arm is around you. And I'm trying to get to why we're seeing this. Um, Date night. It feels like a date thing. Like you, even though you're married already and you've got kids, it feels like there's this time of you having this sort of like, let's have popcorn, let's watch movies. Did you do that together?
All the time.
Okay. It
He
was
loved Hallmark. He loved Hallmark
no
movies. That was
way.
his favorite. That was his favorite. And
I
he
love
told me once, he goes, if I could choose to die, like if I had my choice of how I would die holding you, watching Hallmark movies.
Okay, that is a man that like every woman wants and will never have. No wonder you're devastated, because he's also one in a million. Like you just can't find a guy like people
He's
don't.
a unicorn.
He's a unicorn. It does, that is the cutest thing ever, because he tells me that it's like he wanted to do like a high school date with you, like you always we did this as sort of like, remember he wanted it to feel like you felt in high school, and never let that tradition go. um, because he shows me, just he's in his jeans, he's wearing his socks, he's got his feet up on the table, his arm is around you. He shows me like eating popcorn, like doing what you do. You like eat popcorn and you don't just sit down and go, see what's on TV. You're making an effort to sit and spend that time together.
We did
Um,
that every single night.
every night.
Oh yeah.
What a sweetheart. Pat,
And
He's
then and then sometimes, he'd be like, "Okay, let's just go into bed," and then he put on, Love Boat. We used to watch Love Boat reruns, him and I.
that's amazing. Like a lot of couples are together, but they're like in separate rooms or
Even when he was working, like, he had to go off on disability because he was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, like, it'll be 7 years now, but he had, like, almost 6 that he was off of work one day. I mean, he was a pretty big, director of engineering for Siemens. He was, like, a big, important guy.
yeah.
He'd call me and tell me, like, he's on his way home and what's for dinner, and I would just sit there and wait for him to come home.
Yeah.
And then he would tell me, like, "This is, like, what I live for," when he got home and just come up and hold me and, words if we ever had words, he'd say to me, "Hold my hand."
Yeah.
They'll have to hold each other's hands even though we're mad at each other or upset
I
with each
mean,
other or whatever.
that's that's so unusual.
He
Like,
never once said that he wanted to leave me
mm-mm.
or I wanted to really leave him.
No, it's like he works through everything, and that is so rare.
We
So
worked through everything. We worked through everything. The only time we'd have fights is when he would tell me he had to go, like, off to Germany again. I'd get kinda nasty.
yeah, because you feel abandoned, even if it doesn't.
I hated it. I hated him going away. I don't know if I always felt like deep in my soul,
Yeah,
like I just didn't want him to leave.
yeah. Oh my God,
I don't know.
life is.
I'd probably make his life easy because, when he had to go, I was kind of not nice, but we would work through it. And
And he was patient with
yeah,
that.
he gave me a card like the last time he left. I have it somewhere here. It says, just before you go to bed tonight, look out your window. See that one little star shining down just for you. And he said, "Honey, every time it twinkles, it's me saying I love you and I miss you. And can't wait until you're here with me again." He goes, "I know you're leaving. As for less time than me, and I'm so sorry to have to leave you. I'll miss you so bad and can't wait till the moment I hold you again." And he said, "I'll never stop trying. I'll never stop watching you as I leave. I'll never stop losing my breath every time I see you looking back at me. And I'll never stop holding your hand. And I'll never stop opening your door. I'll never stop choosing you, babe. I'll never get used to you."
That's so beautiful.
Yep.
And I know that by reading that out loud, he's still saying it. It's it's still the same message that he's like, I can't wait to see you. Like he sees you, but you can't, when you're together again, there will be a reunion. And I know you want to rush that reunion because why wouldn't you? And sucks. It sucks that you have to stay here and that you have to stay here because you're needed here. Like but it's not just about other people needing you. It's like your soul needs to be here. It's just kind
I
of
don't know
the feeling that
why.
I have, and I can't tell you why. Your soul will understand it. I'm trying to get Santa Barbara. Santa Barbara. Have you been to Santa Barbara? Do you know someone in Santa Barbara? I'm just gonna say it.
Are we Is it a place or is there
Yeah,
the name
Santa Barbara's in California.
or
Unless
is the name Barbara?
and I think it might be the name Barbara. That's what I'm like. It might be. I'm like, it's either Barbara or Santa Barbara.
Barbara's his mom's name.
Okay, there we go. It's I'm from Southern California, so the reference is Santa Barbara, but the emphasis is on Barbara. Do you have a shawl of hers? Shawl or something like a blanket, something around your
I do
shoulder.
have a blanket.
It feels like something you put around your shoulders of her that belongs to her.
I have a blanket that was hers.
Okay. And I just saw golf tees. Golf tees? Golf tees. Something about golf. He didn't golf, did he?
Pat,
Yeah.
um, we just talked about it. I just talked about Pat golfing to somebody that he wasn't a great golfer, but he enjoyed it. Who
Okay.
did I tell this to? Like, I told somebody this. We were talking about golfing, and
Was it just
someone
that?
asked if Pat liked to golf, and I said,
Yeah.
he enjoyed it sometimes. Oh, I know, my daughter-in-law.
Was that just
Said
like
her mom She said her mom went golfing with her dad, and I said, "I wish I got to do that with Pat." Like, I just said that today. Like,
okay.
she
Okay.
literally said her mom went golfing with her dad. And I said, "I'd give anything to go golfing with Pat, even though I hate it." I go, and she goes, "Did Pops golf?" And I said, he enjoyed golfing.
Yeah.
Wasn't great at it, but he enjoyed it. So
It's like,
I just
yeah,
talked to my daughter-in-law about it. Like, I would
that's,
even golf even though I hated golfing, just to
oh,
be
yeah.
with.
That's just, he's just acknowledging having heard you say that. That's what that means to me when he shows me golf. There's something that I'm seeing about the beach, but waves and surfing. Like, I know that where oh yeah, you're in Florida. There's no surfing there, is there?
He used to body surf, like,
Okay, because I just saw, he just showed me the ocean and surfing, but it didn't feel like, competitive surfing. It just felt like,
he used to have a bodyboard. He'd have a bodyboard, and
oh, do you still have that bodyboard? It doesn't matter, but I was just,
we have them. They're still in the
are you
garage.
using it still? Or is anyone using it?
Not right now.
I just saw like an image of a wave and like body, like surfing. And I just saw kites, but I feel like that might have been a thing that we saw before. And you told me there was a picture of him flying kites. Was that him? Or
He
was it
flew kites with the kids, and then I told my daughter, we took the baby to the beach a few weeks ago, and I told her we have to bring a kite next time.
Okay, that's what it is. Because I'm like, I know he's told me this before, but it came up again. And what's really, what it's starting to be really interesting for me as a medium, because in the past I'd go, well, yeah, I already knew that, so that can't be right. But now I can tell the way that it comes in that it's not a memory from me. It's like it's a new. He's showing me it again. And it's just an acknowledgement of remembering flying kites with the children, and then also knowing that you've mentioned it and that you said we need to bring the kites, because it's just something that you'll do. So he's bringing me to the beach, showing me the surfing and showing me the kites as being aware that this is happening, and also being aware that he's going to be there with you when that happens. Flooding. Why did I hear flooding? Flooding, like a basement flooding or something? Has there been like a flood in your basement?
I did get a little water leak in my ceiling, but it's
Is
not
that,
like a flood, but
oh,
yeah.
yeah, because I saw it. Do you have a basement where you are? I saw like a cement floor.
My daughter, she had a little flood in her playroom, the baby's playroom.
When did that
Yes.
happen?
When that happened, her room flooded.
There was an acknowledgement of a room flooding, and
That's right. You're right.
that's him
That's
just.
right. Yeah, she was up in arms because she had to tear out the carpet, and it was like a cement floor underneath the carpet that she pulled and had to. You're
That's his
right.
way of acknowledging he's not just with you, but also with your
Right.
daughter, and knows about all these little things that are happening. I'm also seeing something about I think horse racing. Like I'm watching horses go around a track, or people
We
going.
used to do that. We used to do that when we lived in Illinois. We'd go to Arlington.
Okay, because I saw horse rate, like the horse, like the horse.
And my mother-in-law would come with sometimes, and she would be like a tyrant, like she always was. Uh, she's like, "I want to go home now," and we'd be like, "We just got here, whatever." And she'd have a fight with my father-in-law, and then want everybody to leave. And
That was Barbara.
we did that on Mother's Day, yeah, or Father's.
Barbara.
I know,
Yeah.
Barbara.
Uh, that's so interesting. Because I just,
We're
yeah.
the only person in my family that was a pill and a half to deal with.
Oh my goodness. He's still with her anyway. But I think, well, I would love to know if she has anything to chime in with, but she may not. She may just be hanging out. But I definitely know that there was like a mention of her. I just definitely know that she's in the spirit mix for sure. Because I keep feeling like he's with his mother. Um, did he have who had chickens? Did he have chickens when he was growing up or something? Or did you?
She did.
She
She
did.
did.
That's interesting. When I just saw.
And she could never eat a whole chicken. She never would buy a whole chicken. She always had to have a, like a breast that was skinless, boneless, because she could never cook chicken because they had to kill the chickens.
Okay.
And so she never could do that.
Yeah.
So when I married Pat, like I would make a whole chicken. That's what my mom would do. I'd stuff it or roast it or whatever I would do. And he
That's,
would tell me he never had a whole chicken in his whole life.
oh, interesting. That's an
Yeah.
interesting thing to bring up because it ties the two of them together. I'm seeing ruins. Did somebody go to like Greece or Athens or something?
We
Like
did. Pat and I did.
you did?
We sure did.
I
Well,
had no idea.
my father's from Greece,
I didn't know this.
right?
There we go. I just saw Greece and the part like the Parthenon, and I saw columns and like the ancient ruins of Greece.
My father was born in Greece. He came here when he was like 19. Yeah.
Oh wow. And your dad's still here, right?
No.
Oh, he's not. So I wonder if he might be coming through as I don't remember if we've connected with him before. Did something happen when you went to Greece? Do you remember if there was something with your passports that like was unusual? Something, did you lose it or like forget or, like
We went this was not when we went to Greece. It's another time when we went to Gibraltar and he left his okay, he had the passports and
yeah.
he left them on a van, like a tour van. And
Yeah.
we wound up in the like inside of a mountain or like we were in the what do you call it where the stalactites are and all that
Mhm.
in the mountain. And we were going on a tour and I said to him, like, where's the passports? And he goes, oh, I left them on the tour
Yep.
bus. And I like lost my mind. I'm like, what do you mean you left them on the tour bus? There's a 50 tour buses out there. How do those are our passports. What are we gonna do? And I remember zipping through the thing, just running out, like getting back to the van to get the passports. And I told him, you are never, ever, never
You
allowed
got
to
them.
hold the passports ever again. Like
Right.
you are no longer for the rest of our lives in charge of passports.
That makes sense because he showed me there was a mix up with passports or you forgot your passports or
No,
something.
he
He
literally
did.
did that. And to the end of time, I never let him hold a passport again.
That makes total sense. And he's fine.
I
He's
always say, come on, hand it over.
perfect. That's funny that he would bring that up because I'm seeing traveling in Greece and passports and that sort of thing, which is really interesting. I I think I'm going with this. I think I'm understanding you're saying, Pat, that on the other side, there are pillars. Like there's a thing that looks just like he's saying he's seeing something similar on the other side, like steps, it looks like Greece. There's like these long pillars. I know that that's something that a lot of people associate with like the pearly gates or whatever. But he's talking about there being these similar structures on the other side that look like that, only they're far more beautiful and bright and light. And I just feel compelled to say that. So I'm going with it that he's like, it looks like where we went in Greece, like the things that we saw in Greece, it looks like that here. It's kind of like that's just something I felt. And I'm going with it because it feels right to me. That he sees these big pillars. Um, and he kind of said, I can't wait for you to see. Like, I can't wait to show them to you. That's just when I saw a big rainbow, like a rainbow. Has he shown you a rainbow in the last like week or so?
No, but there's rainbows on our wedding invitations.
Okay.
And
I just, definitely wanted me to emphasize the rainbows. To me, they look more like they're very, well, yeah, it's rainbows, but they're very transparent, but they're so bright. Like they're so, just the way I'm seeing them, they're shimmering, like these shimmering rainbows when I see it, almost like I'm just describing it to you for whatever it's worth, that I see it as like iridescent, kind of like these iridescent swirls of colors. But he definitely wanted me to talk about the rainbows. and how beautiful they are. Um, there's something about Disney castles. I'm assuming this might have to do with your. Do you have grandchildren? You have how many? Wondering if this has to do with a grandchild thing because I just saw Disney and I saw a castle, and I don't want to say it's Cinderella specifically, but it kind of comes to mind as like this castle that looks like something out of it looks. I know there's something about a Disney movie or a Disney show.
The kids always watch Disney stuff, but there's a picture on my over my mantle or on my mantle, which is the last time we all went to Disney together. And he has balloons because it was like his birthday.
Oh,
And he has balloons and it looks like he's going off and we're all like trying to pull him in.
oh wow,
I was
that's
talking to my daughter and I said, when the picture was taken, I thought it was really cool.
mhm.
I said, but now my son had it made like blew up for me. And so it's like on my mantle. And I said it's sort of like symbolic, like he's just going off, and we're trying to hold him back.
That's so symbolic. It makes sense that he'd bring up because he keeps showing me the Disney logo, like the cursive letters, and he shows me this Disney castle, and it makes sense that that to you would have you. Is that something that's been recent that you've brought that up again?
Yes, I just
Okay,
told my daughter that maybe a few days ago.
that's why that makes sense that it's just a topic of conversation that checks out even more. Um,
Yeah, Hollywood Studios. Here's the picture.
wow, 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 wow. That's really incredible.
And the whole family's together and we're all like pulling him back.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. Oh my God, that's really profound.
Yeah.
Um,
They have a Mickey hat like at Hollywood Studios and it had stars on it.
oh, I was just about to
We
say
go
what I
there with
just,
the kids. We used to go there with the kids.
you know what I just saw before you, right before you said that is I was about to say I'm seeing Mickey Mouse. I'm seeing Mickey, but I'm seeing that movie, The Sword and the Stone, like where Mickey's playing it's the Disney version of The Sword and
Oh,
the Stone.
Fantasia or
Oh, is that
something.
what that is? Thank you. Fantasia. Does that movie have any significance or am I just seeing it because we're talking about Disney?
Probably just seeing it. I mean, it's not really specific to us, but
Okay. With Barbara, was okay, I can't figure out if I'm seeing there's something I'm seeing that looks like blood pressure because I'm seeing like a
oh
blood
yeah.
pressure. Yeah, I
She
just
had
saw
pro blood pressures. Yeah.
okay, because I just saw blood pressure monitor, like the arm thing.
She had out of control blood pressure.
Yeah, I'm just because I'm kind of going back to her. I was like feeling like I'm pulled back in her direction and she's showing me that apparatus that you use to wrap around, and then I'm seeing a red cross over it. So just for whatever reason, she's talking about her high blood pressure, which makes sense considering she's so high strung. Although it's still hereditary in her case, but it's also not taking care of herself and also just being very not dealing with her stress management.
Um,
Roadrunner, Roadrunner.
yeah, my husband, I think his dad loved Roadrunner. They used to.
It's funny. That's so random, but I just heard it so clearly, Roadrunner, and I saw the Roadrunner just running down, like in the cartoon Roadrunner. I also just saw a pin that do you remember back in the day, in our day, we would fly on planes and it was like Pan Am. I saw Pan Am and I just saw like
Okay. His uncle worked for Pan Am.
got it. Yeah, because he's showing me a Pan Am plane. I'm seeing the button. Um,
I think he
did he
used to.
ever
Go
did he
ahead.
ever did Pat ever mention having gone somewhere like this is weird, like did his uncle like fly him somewhere, but it feels someplace like the Philippines or like an Asian country. I can't
Mm.
quite put it all together. The Pan Am poster has there's a the woman like there's a post, and I think that's where I'm getting that from. I don't know if she's from Tahiti, but like one of the Pan Am images is I think of a woman like a
Like a pinup kind of thing.
it is, and it's like a, it's not a Hawaiian woman, but it looks, I think it's a woman from Tahiti.
Okay, we have like in our guest room a poster that's like that. Like
Okay.
an old like pinup kind of Pan Am thing in our guest room.
Okay, that might be what it is. It's interesting. I think it has a double meaning, like, because he's talking about Pan Am, but let's go with that because there has to be a reason why he's showing me that Pan Am poster. Um, so I want to go to it because it's, yes, that's really cool that he's showing me that you have this. It's like of a woman, and she looks to be of like Asian descent, at least in
Like
my,
Hawaiian, that's what.
yeah.
Yep.
She looks to me to be Hawaiian or indigenous, kind of person, with like wavy, thick hair, dark, wavy, thick hair. Is that what it looks like? And okay, is there something on the back of that poster? Is it framed or is it just a poster?
It might be framed.
Don't quote me on this. Don't tear it apart. But like, because he might just be acknowledging it. But when I'm feeling into why are we talking about this poster, he takes me to the back of it where there's like paper and then like a wire that it hangs from. Is there a wire hanging on it?
I don't know. I gotta look close.
Again, I may be sending you on a wild goose chase, but it'd be fun to see if there's something he wrote on the back of it, or if there's something beneath. Don't like rip it apart, but just like, or if there's something he stuffed in there. I would just, maybe I don't know. Like I just have this. Well, I just want to know why he's bringing me to that poster, and so I'm asking him, and I'm taking the picture down, and there's like maybe that brown paper on the back of it. Just see, I might be wrong, but why is he bringing that up otherwise? Pan
He
Am,
loved to travel. He loved to travel like to Hawaii and
it's
things like that.
possible because
And
I
I just
see him. Oh, go ahead.
no, it's just that. And like his last trip, he found me a hula girl that lamp. It was like my grandma and grandpa's, and it was kind of like that sort of era. You know
Yeah,
what I
I do. I know exactly the ones you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it could just be that he's talking about that because to me, I felt like he got frequent flyer miles or something from his uncle and might have been taken there as a
No,
kid.
it wasn't that. He got a lot of frequent flyer miles for
Oh, he did
himself.
from his own work. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I think it has a double meaning because there's definitely something about the uncle. And then there's definitely, like you said, he just really enjoyed
He
travel.
wanted to be a pilot when
Did
he was
he?
did.
Oh, interesting.
He said if he didn't marry me, he would have been a pilot.
Okay. Is there something about, I know you've known each other like your whole lives since high school, but he just showed me that you had interactions without knowing it or something when you were like little. And because I see a playground and I see the two of you on, I don't know if this is literal.
Well, our doctors were the same. We didn't know it, but our pediatrician, his mom worked for them, and my mom knew her.
Okay.
We were little kids and went to the same pediatrician that knew both of us growing up.
Yeah. Because the way he showed it to me was probably symbolic, but he showed me a swing set and like a playground and you two as little kids swinging side by side, but not, the idea of it was we were right there in each other's orbit, but didn't even know it. That was
Exactly.
like it didn't literally feel like you were but there was like we were side by side this whole time, just waiting to come together.
Yes, it's
That
true.
makes perfect sense.
Yeah, because my mom knew his mom, and the doctor was very good friends with my mom, and also my mother-in-law worked for her.
Oh, okay.
And so, like, we probably crossed paths many times.
Yeah, definitely you did. That was the real feeling of it. I know right now work is the last thing on your mind, but I see for you going into this field of like holistic nutrition and down the line, is that something that's ever interested you or like do,
Everybody told me I should do that, but
because
I
I feel
just
like you're healing people through food. That's the feeling. No pressure, but that's what I just saw very clearly is you do this instinctually. You understand the connection between food, what we put in our bodies, and our health. Um, and like I said, it can't cure cancer, but if you have cancer, definitely it can help you feel better and it can help you have a better chance of fighting it, and there's a real feeling of you changing direction and going into something for yourself where that way you can take clients but you can grieve, like you don't have to be on 24/7. You can take clients on your own time
But
And
the
it
problem is I just, I don't feel like I was just talking about this to somebody that told me, Dawn, you're like a healer.
yeah.
Like you've got a bigger purpose and you need to really think about this. And I said,
Mm.
I'd be like a fake. I mean, how do I say I healed anyone? He passed away. As hard as I tried. I mean, every single day I juiced for him. I made like 3 meals a day that were like impeccably healthy. And I know he was given 6 months to live and he lived 6 years almost. But it's like I can't say, wow, he was
Mhm.
healed because he wasn't.
Right. And that's why he's bringing this up. That just came very strongly to me. That's why we're talking about this right now. Because, and you don't have to do it right now. There's no pressure to do it right now. But the message is now I understand why we're talking about this. The message is healing isn't just about saving a life, because, as for instance, what we're doing right now, I can't save you from grief. I can't stop the pain, but I can help facilitate you in healing your own self just by continuing to talk about it, by continuing to hold space for you to talk about it and heal. And it doesn't mean there's a time frame on it, but it doesn't mean that you don't have the ability and the power to help people get through what they're going through. Like, for instance, Reiki healing doesn't mean that you're going to stop somebody's natural progression. Like, unfortunately, Pat's path was that he was unfortunately meant to go at this time. But it doesn't mean that there isn't value in it. It doesn't mean that there's not value in helping people manage symptoms. And if they are, some people, when they have near death experiences, are told you can stay or you can go. It's not really your time, but you can stay if you want. If it isn't their time, it can help facilitate even just feeling better, managing symptoms. And you don't have to, I do that too. I'm like, well, I don't want to put myself out there because I feel like a fake. I can't tell you that I'm going to be able to heal you. But what I can tell you is that you'll probably feel better. You'll probably help to heal yourself in the best way that you can for you. It doesn't mean that I'm going to cure your cancer and you're going to walk away cancer free, but it means it's part of feeling better, having more time. Like you said, he was given 6 months, he lived 6 years. That's still not enough time. When you're ready, he's just saying it doesn't mean you can't be a healer. Right now, you don't have it in you, to the bandwidth to give somebody else healing energy when you're just hanging on by your fingernails. It could be 5 years from now, but I think the encouragement is that obviously that's what we do. We're like, well, I couldn't save Pat, so how could I heal anybody else? And he's like, take that thought out of your mind, because then you're cheating yourself and others out of what you do have to offer. None of us can claim that we can save somebody's life, but we can help them through whatever it is they're going through. Now's not the time, and that's okay. But just be open to it for the future, even though right now you can't see past tomorrow. But I think it's just something to know that there is going to be a time when you're going to feel you have the bandwidth for it. You can't imagine it right now. You just can't, and that's okay. Like, you don't have to, but it's just something that I think you are a healer, and that nutrition has a lot to do with it. Just where you're going with it. I just felt Pat saying that's going to be a new chapter. You don't know it yet, but it is. Africa. Why am I hearing Africa? Is there somebody you know that's going to Africa?
I have family in Africa.
No kidding. South
Yeah,
Africa?
yes. My cousin Bula, she's from South Africa and
Okay.
she lost her husband. Like we were always like connected because she was going through treatment with her husband and I was going through treatment with Pat and we would like just encourage each other a lot and she just texted me or messaged me maybe a few weeks ago and she's like, Dawn, you need to come visit me. You've got a lot of family here and I really want you to come.
I was about to say, let me tell you how I received this information. We just had the conversation that we had, and then I saw you need to travel. And in my mind, my logical mind went, she's not gonna travel. But then heard Africa, and then I heard South Africa, and then you told me about your cousin. Again, there's an encouragement, go. Not because like it's going to change anything, except it's something you need to do. For the reason is to just mix things up right now, because right now everything is a reminder of him. Every single thing, and it always will be. I'm not saying you're not going to think about him every single minute of every day, but I think there's an encouragement to go and have this adventure, whether you fake it till you make it with no expectations. It's not about trying to have fun or anything like that, but it's getting out of this comfort zone in this environment and seeing something beautiful and seeing something new. I understand you're going to say, but I don't want to go if he can't come with me. But he's like, I want you to go, and I want you to and know that I'm going with you. That's just what I feel. Don't feel guilty if you can't summon it up, but I'm telling you, there's a big encouragement. You have free will. You can do whatever you want. Big push from spirit to say yes to that opportunity, whenever that might be. And also the sisterhood in two women that have lost their husbands. You need each other. And yes, it's great that you can talk the way that you do, but being together, I feel like something healing happens from that trip. You know, the two of you together, experiencing this together might be really, really instrumental in your healing. So just take that as you will. It doesn't have to be a stress about it, but I do feel like Pat is like, go, honey, go. You know, don't hold yourself back from experiences. Because he's like, I want you to keep enjoying life as much as you can. Even though, and again, I'm saying that with sensitivity. I understand it's hard, but he's like, please don't stop enjoying what you can despite your grief. And it'll only help kind of like help you start to feel like, oh, I had a moment of joy. Today was a really good day. Like it's that kind of thing. It's slow but steady. So if that's on the table, it might just be one of those things where you're like coming up with all these reasons in your mind not to, and just talk to yourself and go, nope, I'm going to book the flight and feel all the uncomfortable feelings and just get on the plane. Like everything is what I keep seeing, one foot in front of the other. Like, I'm scared, do it. I'm scared, do it. Like, let's like feel the fear and do it anyway and just go. As I just heard hiccups. Oh no, wow, that was very big hiccups. Let me just hold my breath.
Pat had really bad hiccups. That's why I sent him in for.
I was just going to ask you if there was some, I know that's silly, but I was like, I have really bad hiccups right now. Is there some connection?
Yes, and that's what freaked me out so bad. Yeah.
When did he have them?
Right before he was diagnosed. That's why I sent him in to get checked.
Do you know I haven't had hiccups in years? Like, I don't know the last time I had hiccups. And I don't always try to make it all fit, but this is such severe hiccups that I'm like, I almost asked you if there's some reason why I'd have like dramatic hiccups, because I do not have hiccups in my life very often.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why he went in for a checkup. That's why I made him go.
Because he had nonstop.
He'd have hiccups when he'd eat. And I was like, something's not right. And he goes, they're just hiccups. That's what he told me. Why are you freaking out?
That's crazy. Like when it manifests physically in me, that always amazes me, because I don't, like I said, I can't remember the last time I had hiccups. And as it was happening, I was like, this is really dramatic. Like, it's so that makes sense that he would show me that. And now they're gone, I think, which would be crazy because that shows that he just wanted to show them to me and bring them, and they're gone. He literally was just like threw them at me just to say that. That is unreal to me.
That was his only symptom.
What's that Al Pacino movie?
My dad actually looked like Al Pacino.
All right, I'm going to go with that. He might be referring to, it might be your dad.
Yeah.
He just said that he used to be such a big, tough, strong guy, and that he got sick. Is that correct? Like, because he said, I used to be such a strong guy, and giving up who I was really tough because I became so dependent. And because he just showed being really dependent on somebody having to take care of him, and that it really was hard for him from a pride perspective.
Yeah, my dad was prideful. Very
okay. Because he wanted to say thank you for giving me my dignity in all of it, because you knew how much that was important to me and you took care of me, but you also let me have my dignity and to do things by myself as much as I could without sort of making me feel helpless. Does that make sense to you?
100%.
Okay. Just really important to him that you know that he appreciates that sensitivity, because you didn't treat him like a baby. You were like, I know you still need to have your sense of autonomy. Um, it's not that he's not loving, but he doesn't come through with the warmth first. He comes through with more of the strength first.
Yes.
Um, because I'm kind of waiting to see what he wants to say to you. And I'm like, any words of comfort, and he doesn't, it's not that he doesn't have them, it's that he doesn't express them very well. Um, he's not going to be the one that's like tender. Not that he doesn't have a soft heart, but that he doesn't come through as very tender. He
You're
doesn't.
1,000% right.
Okay. Because he's like, I'm not the guy to talk to about this kind of stuff. Like he just kind of feels like it's not that he's not, souls come in with their own purposes, and some are there to be like, I'm here for you. I love you. You're okay. But he's like, I just don't do, that's not my kind of wheelhouse, in terms of being like the best at comforting. That's mom's job. He's like, that's more of like mom's job. Not that he just doesn't do that. It's not that he doesn't care. There'd be a reason why I would see slippers with him. Kind of basic, but like I just saw slippers.
Yeah, my mom left them there in the house for the longest time.
Okay. Acknowledging
Yeah.
that his slippers were important, somehow important. And does somebody work in a pharmacy? Oh no, you do. Shoot, that's funny. I just saw pharmacy, but see, I didn't. This is one of those things I'm talking about, where before I would have been like, well, I already know she works at a pharmacy, but no, it came from a different place. So
Yes.
it's showing me there's a reference. It's a reference to your work, and it's because what I'm actually seeing, I know you don't literally work in a pharmacy. I know you're a patient advocate, but what I just saw is a drugstore, and then they took me to the pharmacy desk where people are filling prescriptions. So there's a reason why I'm seeing this, and it's not because you told me you work in pharmacy, because as I said, that was not even in my field. Is there somebody you work with that would have either passed away, or, and there's no one named Wendy at the pharmacy, right? Like a coworker.
Yeah, there is a coworker, but I'm not close with her.
All right. Because here's the thing, I heard Wendy. Then I said, who's Wendy? And I saw pharmacy. So okay, so there is a Wendy you work with. All right.
Yeah.
Let's figure out what that's about. Why are we mentioning Wendy? She's a coworker. You don't have a relationship with her necessarily, but she exists in your sphere. Okay. It may be one of those things that we'll understand this later, like that Wendy will say, I feel like this might be one of those things we're not going to figure out right now, but there's an acknowledgement of there being a Wendy that you work with at the pharmacy. And so I would take it as they're just acknowledging that we have, or I might be picking up on it psychically, but I feel like they don't bring things up for no reason. So it may be that, I don't know, maybe Wendy's going through something, losing somebody. I don't know. Do you know anything about her life? Like, is she going through a loss? Is something, I don't know. But I'm just going to say, I was just told Wendy, who works at the pharmacy, I'll wait for more to come in. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. I think that we're going to figure this out later. I definitely feel like I feel like this time around, everybody came through together just to show you, which you already know, but just to really illustrate to you that we're all here. We're all around you. We all know this is hard. And there's such an encouragement of like, you might not feel like it, but you are Wonder Woman. And like, please keep going and please keep enjoying life. Not with no pressure about how you do that. Like it's not like a feeling of, come on, get out there. It's not that feeling of like insensitivity to what you're experiencing, but it's this encouragement, gentle love and encouragement of put yourself out there. You can do, like, as you may as well. Like the feeling is you're going to hurt no matter what you do. It's not going to not hurt. But at least as long as you've got time left here, put your small, you don't have to do it all at once, but just there's an encouragement to start putting your toe in the water of like, making that going. I don't feel like the thought of like a big trip might feel overwhelming, but it's like you you'll realize like why you have to, like once you're there and you've done it, you'll be like, I get why I had to do this now. Because it gives you that small sense of, okay, I may not feel less sad, but I feel like, oh, this is a cool experience. Like you can finally feel a cool experience. And also, I know Pat wants you to know, like, I hear every little silly thing that's going on in your life, like every tiny little funny thing. Glitter. Is there like glitter all over the place somewhere? Like, did you find glitter in the couch cushion? Like, it feels like I just saw like opening a card or something and there's glitter in it and there's like glitter on things and you keep finding glitter like weeks later. Stuff it to
It
do with
used to always be that back in the day when I would do that, that would happen.
what was it about?
It was just, I would do like Christmas or different things and put glitter in it and
Oh,
then all over the place. Yeah. We'd find it. But I haven't done that in a long time.
there's a reason why he
Like
brings that up. There's
oh,
a reason why he brings that up. That's not just a memory. It's about, because I can tell he's kind of giving me this sort of analogy about finding glitter everywhere, which is like representing the magic, like finding that hidden glitter. It's like there's still a little bit of glitter in this life, which it's like you'll find it in hidden places, is kind of what I feel like he is referencing, that you used to find glitter everywhere, like you put it in cards for people and then it's everywhere. But that's the feeling I have of him making an analogy about there's still going to be pain, but you're going to be these little moments where you're like, oh, unexpected glitter. And so he's like, but make sure that you keep your like go out in the world to find it. You don't have to go crazy. You don't have to like constantly leave the house. But as you said, you're thinking about going to church, just put it on the calendar and just go. And don't let the fear of how it'll make you feel hold you back. It might hurt, it might not. Just put yourself there, put your butt in the seat, and it's like showing up, just show up. And then if you realize 5 minutes later, I can't do this, go home. That's fine. But just, he's like, keep taking these small steps, keep saying yes, and say yes. Say yes to things. And like Stella said, you can wear black's sexy, but at the same time, like what she meant wasn't don't wear black. It was, start to add color to your life, because sometimes it's that thing of not just fake it till you make it. It's like they say that like when you smile, for example, it tricks your brain into thinking you're happy. So they're like, just smile through a workout. Like when I work out and I'm doing like a hard workout, I'm like, this fucking sucks. But if I smile and I pretend, I'm like, no, it's great. It just feels so good. Like there's something, not to like pretend, but to just like kind of to a degree fake it till you make it, and like, okay, pretend this is fun. There's that. I know I don't mean that literally, you know what I mean, but like it's kind of just trying to have a sense of normalcy slowly but surely. Eventually you will start to find, oh wait, I actually did have a good time. For 5 minutes I wasn't thinking about this, or I was thinking about it, but I was able to think of it with like a smile on my face, or I was able to laugh more, or like we had such a nice dinner together, you and a friend, or your cousin. Like I just really laughed for the first time in a long time and laughed till I cried, and it felt organic. And it's just kind of like getting back that part of yourself. That doesn't mean the grief is gone, but it just means I can have a moment where I'm actually like, oh my God, I had a moment of peace. And he's like, and part of it is the way you're going to get there is to put yourself in new situations and kind of get out of because as I said, everything reminds you of him that's around you. Your car, even just getting in the car. I remember, there's like things in the car that remind you of him. There's something do you have something hanging on the on the mirror has to do with him? Which is fine. Is that something you put there? Or is it something he put? Yeah. And he's like, it's good. Like, it's good to have that there. And also,
It's
um,
because it fell off and was in the cup holder. It was so weird when I came in like
oh,
yesterday. I
oh,
was like, how did that come out of the cup holder, go into the cup holder? Like it
that's why
never.
he just mentioned that thing. It just because it was like sometimes I'm talking about something else and they'll just show me something else because he just showed me something hanging from a mirror that's like has to do with him. And also it's so funny because he just showed me, does his car still have like a cassette deck in it?
I
Like he
don't
showed me cassette tapes going into like playing cassette tapes, which nobody does anymore.
not far, but
Okay. Is there something about cassette tapes generally that you have some like
he used to make me those tapes. Like
mixtapes?
yeah, when
Do you
we were
still
young.
have them?
I have some, yeah.
Have you put them on like digital just so that you have them?
He bought me about my pottery thing. He bought me a boom box so I could play.
Um,
So
yeah, yeah, that's so cool. Like that feels like, oh God, I know I have those too. I still have mine too. That guys made me, boys, every one of my boyfriends, because that was what we did in the 80s and 90s.
yep, yep.
I have so many mixtapes from boys, and it brings back all the visceral
But
feelings.
he was my only boy though.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
know, I know. Um, yeah, I feel like we could. I feel like I love hanging out with Pat, and I know we will do this. I know he'll do like I know he'll continue to give me messages, and I'm always here for you. Um, is there somebody that has a name like Ella or something?
my daughter's Ellie, and my grandmother was Eleanor, and his grandmother was Eleanor,
Here we
and
go.
they were born on the same day, the same year, April 11th, 1910. And
That's
his grandma was Eleanor Casey, and my grandma was Eleanor Kelsey.
beautiful.
And
My dad
my son's oldest son's birthday is April 11th.
and my dad's birthday is April 11th.
Oh wow, that's so weird.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, I heard Ellie really strongly,
That's
which
in
is
my daughter.
your or not. Sorry, I said Ella, but like Ellie. That's very very strong. And my niece, her middle name is Eleanor. She's Hazel Eleanor. I love that name. Was one of those Eleanor people in spirit that like a total renegade, like person that's like totally not this person that I have, like I think I have is feels like someone who is not by the book and she's very independent and she's kind of like feels like she's not like one of those women that's back in the day was like not to be contained. I don't know if is that her or somebody else?
My grandma was a free spirit, like she
Free
was,
spirit is
but
the word.
she wasn't like an old fuddy duddy, you know how some of them were. My grandma
This is
was
not that's what I
she was
feel.
cool. She was very cool.
Yeah, because
Like
I
you
feel like
could talk to her, like she would, have conversations about sex and things like that with
yeah.
me and references, and she'd be like, honey, when your husband comes home, you always make sure you have lipstick on and you look pretty, and you never turn him down. And she would be like that kind of grandma that
Is
would give me that sort of advice. And
is that grandma Eleanor or is she a different grandma?
that's Eleanor.
Oh, because when I just asked her to show herself, I saw I am not to be contained. I am a renegade. She does not conform to norms of like girls have to wear dresses. She is
She did
not,
like to wear dresses herself. I mean,
it just
she
feels like she's more artsy. Like I kind of
she
felt like
was she was an artist at the Art Institute of Chicago. She
that's
went to
her.
school.
You know what I saw specifically too is there was that time in Paris. I don't know a lot about it historically, but it's like the Alice B. I don't even know who Alice B. Toklas is, but there's like that whole time period where people were like hanging out with artists, and it was like the beatnik kind of feeling. I had this feeling of that just kind of is my symbol for somebody that is more artsy, like
She was an artist. She could draw, she could sing, she could like they'd have like little parties, and she would they'd play the piano and she would sing. I mean, my grandma was very cool. She was not
sounds
like
like
this
it.
old. she liked to cook and bake and all those things. Like
Yeah.
she was a typical grandma in so many ways, but she was also very cool. And my grandpa was a little bit kind of controlling, a little bit like he wanted, to be the man and, put her on a
Yeah.
budget. Well, she just would save her own money and she would just do what she wanted to do, but she didn't like ruffle feathers with him, but
Yeah.
she'd still do her thing, what she wanted to do.
Did she ride horses?
She did have a horse when she was little. I have a
Yeah.
picture of her on her pony. She had a
Yep.
pony.
That's what I see very strongly. She showed
Yeah.
me riding on a horse or a pony.
Yeah.
Wait, a pony makes sense for what I'm seeing because it feels like a child. I see her as a child.
Yes, I have a picture. I will, when I find the picture, I will text it to you.
Please do. Does she have bangs like in the
I
picture?
I believe she does, and she's on this horse,
Yep.
on this pony that her dad got her.
I see that. And
Mm.
what I see is almost at a certain point in her life. I don't know if I see it this way, but she looks like Scout from To Kill a Mockingbird. She just showed me, did she die of something to do with her heart?
Yes.
Because she just showed me that. I don't know. She
She had
brought
it
it.
in, but then her heart just
Okay. It feels like something was wrong with her heart is the only information she gave me, but it was definitely like she said, my heart is what
Yep.
is like kind of like what took me up.
She wound up getting an infection, a bladder infection that went
Oh,
septic, but they had it under control. But at the end of the day, her heart just stopped.
got it. Okay. Peas, green peas. Does that mean anything to you?
I just made pea soup um
Today?
2 days ago, and I always think of my grandma when I make it. And
Oh,
my
if it's definitely connected to her. So I was like, if something she
so
just
that's like the what she cooked, and the baby loves it, and I was making it, and I think of my grandma when I cook sometimes.
that's why because she said green peas and showed me green peas. And so that makes sense that she's recognizing you honoring her.
And I actually have some out tonight for dinner that I was gonna make.
Oh, that sounds so good. Does it have ham in it?
Well, the soup I made did have a little ham in it,
Yeah.
and it had carrots and potatoes and all that.
Yeah. But yeah, she's just like appreciating you, honoring her by thinking of her when you make the soup. She really wanted me to say green peas. Now I just saw an apron that has a monogram on it. It just looks like somebody monogrammed something on it. Is anyone just,
I have an apron like that that I got in Italy that
oh, really?
Pat got me. Yeah.
And it has your initials on it?
Uh-huh.
I think that might have come from Pat because what I do is I see the thing and then when you don't, I go, okay, let's zoom in. What about the apron? He said it has initials on it, monogram.
I think it has my name on it, maybe.
You have so many loved ones that are holding you through this. And I know you don't always feel it direct, as much because everyone wants to just feel so much better and it's not going to feel that way. Um, and there's definitely a message of, I know we can't take the pain away, but trust the experience. I'm seeing wings that are like hawk wing, eagle wing. It's not an eagle. I see a hawk. I see the wings of a hawk. And that may be significant to you in terms of the actual feathers of the hawk. But there's a feeling, I'm seeing a hawk very clearly of this is going to be your journey. It's not going to be easy. But don't stop like flying, like fly even if you feel like you're going to fall, just like get up and jump off the tree and like fly. But there feels like wings are very important. So also look out for hawk feathers, which of course we all occasionally there's a hawk and we see them and it doesn't always mean it's spirit. But I think it's like one of those things where when you see it, you're going to know because it's going to be
My
in
brother and I, on my birthday, but this was back in January, but my brother came over to teach me how to use this green egg that I have.
Uh-huh.
And we were sitting up there and we were watching these hawks just circle and circle, and they landed on the top of this tree that my dad planted in my yard. And it was weird. There were two of them together, and my brother's like, I've never seen anything like this. Like they were just
Okay, that's what your dad's talking about then. Because I keep seeing hawks at the top of a tree and
yep.
like And so, and because we're with your dad and have been for a little bit here, I guarantee you that's why we're seeing hawks, because he's acknowledging that he's motivated them to cluster around his tree so that you would see it, and that will be a sign from him. Not like every time you see a hawk it's like always going to be him, but like, you'll know, like that, just like you did in
My
that
brother
moment.
knew.
Your brother knew. That makes sense, because I feel like hawks are going to be a really big sign from him and always are. um and you'll know because it'll come at the right time and it'll be in context. So it's not just, oh, a hawk, that's dad. It's like, oh no, that's dad. Like, I know it is. There's no getting around the fact that that's too random. um and I think that's why I see a hawk feather, because it's something. Sometimes we like to have these things to hold on to, like just to remind us, like as a touchstone. So it may be that your symbol is a hawk, like whether it's a tattoo or like a actual feather or a dream catcher with hawk feathers in it. I just feel like that's something that might comfort you, just to keep in mind. You don't have to do any of that. um do you have a tattoo already that's like a Patrick thing?
Yeah,
Oh, right there. Because he just showed me, speaking of tattoos. What is it of?
it's a rose. He
Oh,
had he had. I don't think I told you about that.
I don't think you did.
I had it in September. I did it. I
Trying to
don't know if I told you or didn't.
I don't know. I don't remember either. He just told me that you have a tattoo that is in his memory. One, I just heard string beans. Did somebody have a string bean recipe or something? Because I would say green beans, but whoever this is said string beans.
Well, I
Or
have those out on the. I have the peas and the green beans out on the counter.
oh, okay, it's
So,
probably that. But also,
so
did someone, maybe it was a nickname, string bean?
no.
No, it's the string bean. It's literal string beans.
Hmm.
I think it's just grandma saying, and the string beans, like letting you know that I'm like seeing what you're doing. And the other thing is a fishing pole, but really my focus is on the actual nylon string.
My dad loved fishing,
He
and so
did.
did oh,
I didn't know that. I just saw a fishing pole, like, and
yeah,
I
dad
that.
loved fishing. That was his favorite.
Oh,
And Pat would fish with him. Like
okay. They're fishing together on the other side. I know that. I know that. When I say that, I know that's true. Um, Spirit fish. I don't know how that works, but apparently they can do it. Apparently they can create their own reality on the other side, and so that's what they're doing. I keep hearing and seeing medallion, and there's like a big gold medallion that I see. I don't know what it is though. Do you know? Would it be connected with Pat or your
I
dad?
have Parthenon that I got on my wedding day.
What is
It's
it?
like this big,
That's
and it's like it's all gold.
okay. Yeah,
It's a Parthenon,
got it. I
and
just saw that so strongly.
yeah, and they gave it to me on my wedding day. My uncle, he gave me it. Like
Oh wow,
I don't know if I have it right here to show you. It's
that's so
hilarious though.
funny.
It is really hilarious.
Ooh, yes. Oh my goodness, that's so cool and
It's the
so
gaudiest thing that I've never
body.
worn in
Yeah,
my life.
it is. It's like cool, and that's
All gold.
yeah, all gold. Like a big, huge medallion is what I heard. They've done their jobs really well today, and I'm really grateful for that.